Else to consider, and this takes a little bit of doing. Once you've found that honey hole tree where you're either going to put a lock on or a ladder or a climber or even put in a ground blind, one of the most important things you have to consider once you've established that is how to get in and get out quietly downwind and get set up. And it ain't easy, especially when it's thick like it is right here. But this is where pruning shears and a machete kind of come into play. And what you want to do is just clip just enough to get you in and get you out. And don't make it big enough so that the deer start using it, because they will, and they'll walk in right behind you. But the key is a straight line and downwind and quiet. And a lot of times I messed that up big time. Got out of the woods, out to the woods road, and there's something that I want to emphasize more than anything else right now, is that none of these spots have I ever deer hunted. All of this is just kind of wandering around through the woods, trying to find what I found on Google Earth, see if there's any deer sign, and see if it would be worth hunting. And that's the hard part, and that's something that I struggle with every single year. But you got to get out and you got to look, and right now it's one of those days in February where it's actually in the high 30s, which makes it nice. Things that want to try to eat me aren't up and stirring right now, i.e. snakes, alligators, bears, everything else affiliated with the woods in Florida. But it makes for a nice day, a nice easterly wind blowing about 15 to 20 knots, but makes it a whole lot easier than when it's hotter than 3 hells and you're sweating gallons. I remember we had discussed finding on Google Earth a place where 3 different ecotones come together, and right here we kind of have it. And we got planted pines, we got tall pines, and then we got a cypress pond. Hopefully I can find some deer sign, because I haven't found anything of any consequence yet, but this is an X. This is where 3 ecotones come together. Sometimes it pans out and sometimes it doesn't, and right now I hadn't found anything that really excites me, but we're going to nose around and see what we can find. Alright, old sign, but still some sign that there's deer moving through here. That looks to be, I don't know, 5 or 6 days old, but at least it shows they're moving through here. A beat down trail right there. So as I traipse through the woods, traipsing is a good word, you have time to kind of reflect and set your goals for next season. Now, there's 2 things you really need when you hunt public land. You need instincts, which I have very little, and the ability to interpret deer sign, which I always struggle with. So that means I'm handicapped 2 different ways. So I got to spend a lot of time in the woods, as much as I can, as much as my schedule will allow. But my goal, first of all, is to have fun and not treat this like it's a second job, because the first one is difficult enough and there's plenty of stress. So when I come out here, I want to enjoy. And for years I would try to grind it out, and it just wasn't any fun. And when I finally relaxed and kind of took things as face value, I started to kill deer a little more consistent. Now I still struggle with that every year, but my number 1 goal is just to kill 1 state of Florida legal buck. If it's a spike and it's a 10-inch main beam, that's what I'm going to pull the trigger on. I'm not a trophy hunter by any stretch of the imagination. I'm more of what you would call a meat hunter, because I love venison. But the goal is to have fun, see some deer, and then if the hunting gods are willing, I get a crack at one with a legal set of horns. That kind of makes my hunting season. Anything else on top of that is pretty much icing on the cake. Well, that means at one time there was a hoss standing here rubbing on this tree. I don't know if he's still alive or if he's died of old age, but this is what you want to find. This makes me think that there's something with a big set of horns running around. Love this. This is my absolute favorite, or one of my favorite ways to spend a Saturday morning, messing around in the woods, driving through another one of my favorite wildlife management areas. Nice cool morning, trying to find a place to kill a deer next year.